time is also up. Yes, here he is. Thank you so much for joining. And before we give it to you, I'll just share a few things about you, Brother Marcelo, before I tell people about. Let me tell you one thing. Brother Marcelo wasn't very comfortable doing this value. I'm being very brutally honest here. He said, is curiosity a value to be discussed? I said, yes, don't worry. We have Sudesh Didi speaking about that before. And then you can carry on it in whatever way you want to. So we'll see what he has to enlighten us on. So Brother Marcelo is the national coordinator in Colombia, which is country in the Latin America. And he has been associated with the organization for almost 35 years now. 30 years actually. He speaks in various countries all over the world, and his topics are related to human values, which we are covering in our workshops, self-leadership, meditation, and other human development topics. He's actually a coach, a consultant, and author in human development with a self-leadership focus. And he has written quite a few books, and he also caters to many big companies in Colombia, Mexico, India, and Spain, where he really gives a lot of classes in many universities as well. And his few books, they are in Portuguese, so I won't read that, but also at his blog, which the title is Looking for More Than a Job. Looking for more than a job. He talks about important ideas for various organizations and the focus being on the self. And as always, before I pass it on to him, we will read the poem for him and the value of curiosity. So Brother Marcelo shall share his wisdom on whether is it really good to be curious so that we live in this materialistic world without being deleterious. Let's not be judgmental and pass comments which are injurious, which indeed make people hate each other and furious. So let's not do that. Let our words not make others feel injurious, because this precious life is indeed very glorious. So let's live in each other's company without being precarious and without even having a thought of low or high and being gracious. Let's stop searching for worldly relationships which are indeed spurious, which eventually in the end hurt us and make us feel delirious. So with these few lines, I would pass it on to Brother Marcelo, and as always, it's a 1 hour session. So 45-50 minutes would be your talk, followed by the closing meditation. Over to you, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, Manoj. Thank you very much for the invitation, Dhanyavad. And it's nice to be with you all from so many places and many languages too. So it's interesting. Yes, I was not so comfortable with curiosity, maybe because I am a very curious person by nature. And I have learned what that saying that's present in many cultures. Curiosity killed the cat, you know? So it's sometimes dangerous to be too curious, not because you have to forbid yourself to look for, but curiosity means that within something is lacking. This is why you are looking for. You want something else, you know? And so we have to be careful. But on the other hand, I have to admit it's a value, because values, per definition, is that energy that makes people to do something. And probably because you are all curious, you came to this lecture today. So curiosity is a value, we cannot deny, but maybe we have to understand a little more. And you were explaining very well, in fact. Some of the things I thought about talking about, you already talked. I think the first area of curiosity that's good, positive, empowering is the scientific area. That's how I'm able to go to India via Zoom instead of having to travel like 2 days and spend lots of money via Zoom. I am there in India now, you know. So that came from curiosity. Someone was curious how to do that, and they explored, and they were able to find ways that 100 years ago it would be impossible. In fact, in the Mahabharata, Sanjay does something similar. You know, so he's very far from the battlefield, Kurukshetra, and still he's able to see things and hear whatever is going on there. So curiosity provoked all the changes in terms of science that we have been experienced, or the little child of science, technology. So we are seeing, we are able to see and experience a much better world in many ways because of the scientific curiosity. But that scientific curiosity also brought us the pollution, brought us atomic bombs, brought us many viruses, probably, so many bad things too. So this is why curiosity has to have some spiritual, spiritual aspect to help that energy to be channeled in a proper way. And that's another area in which curiosity is very good, spirituality. Last past Sunday, May 12th, we are thinking about Brother Jagadish Chander from Brahma Kumaris, was one of our senior brothers, one of the main teachers we had, and he was extremely curious. He was always checking and researching and doing things. I remember I'm still connected to one brother who used to be his secretary. So he used to typewrite everything for Jagadish. He published, I think, more than 50 books and lots of articles. And he used to say that in his desk, the desk used to always have a pile of books there and other materials. So he was always researching and checking. And he was curious to know how to explain to someone who is not so spiritual, who is not religious, how to explain concepts as God, soul. It's very hard. It's very difficult. Think about that, how to do that. So he channeled his curiosity into the spiritual world. He was able to invent many things, to create lots of ideas, and he was able to help so many people with his concepts and texts and all the materials he published. So for curiosity to have a real value as a value, it needs some doses of spirituality, of something humane. Otherwise, as a scientist, I can do excellent job and produce the best atomic bomb in the world, you know. But if I have that spirituality, if I understand how we work, so instead of that, I can use all that same energy to produce something different. How to finish hunger in the world. At this moment, there are all 1 billion people starving. So imagine if all that scientific curiosity was channeled towards that objective, how things would be different, you know? So if you have the spiritual factor, that will make things very different. And as I said, I am a curious person. I'm always checking and rechecking things. I live in a Spanish-speaking country, and many times we have to read texts. And the texts were originally spoken in Hindi, then translated into English. Then you have to translate into Spanish. So you lose a lot. You lose a lot of the meaning of the words, of the sense that's been given there. So I like to explore. So instead of curiosity, I like the word exploration. It's a process in which I go into the depth and I try to understand things better so I can improve my own life and I can help others improve lives too. So if your curiosity is an exploration and has a spiritual factor, so don't worry, the curiosity won't kill the cat, you know. So the cat will be alive and no problem because you can expand your awareness. You can start seeing things in a different way. You can start taste things and perceive the reality um, in a different dimension than before. As a curious person, when I was teenager, still, I start to explore a little bit about myself. I was never interested in spirituality or religion. I was never a religious person. Even so, I read the Gita, the Bhagavad Gita, I read before I was 14. I read the whole Bible, something that very few Catholics have done. I read the whole Bible before 12, you know. Still, I never consider myself a spiritual religious person. But when I was about to be 18, something just clicked, you know? I start to look for. It was like the last quest I did, the last search I looked very seriously. Because I want to do a change in my life. I really want to do something that was totally impossible at that moment. I couldn't see how I could change. It was not clear in my mind. And I didn't have anybody there who could help me. Um, but then that idea started to grow and grow and grow and grow. And with the Raja Yoga meditation, I was able to solve, if not 100% of my conflicts, at least 80% of all the inner conflicts I had inside myself. So I saw that curiosity as an exploration process in which many months before, I start to experiment with my own thoughts and feelings. I start to think reality, how to be in this way, how can I do this in such a way that I don't suffer, I don't make others to suffer. And what can be my aim really in life, my objective in life? Those questions, they start to force me out of my cocoon. I start to open my wings and I start to experience little flight here and there. And it was amazing, amazing. Um, that was the first time I got in touch with the concept of the soul, for instance. The soul is a concept that in Catholicism is present there. I mean, we talk about soul quite a lot, but it's not clear. It's not it's not easy to understand. There are so many ideas. And then I got a knowledge that was extremely clear. The soul is this, here it is, and that's it. And not only that, through meditation, I was able to experience it. I was able to feel it in myself. And that's a big difference in relation to the scientific curiosity. Many times scientists, they are not able to feel their knowledge. They are not able to feel their ideas. This is why they have lots of ideas, but they are not feeling them. But in spiritual curiosity or exploration, then you can feel. For instance, right now you can feel, I am just a soul. You can just experience yourself, this whole big body, just disappear for 1 second, 1 minute. And you can just feel myself, I am. just the soul, just light. So when I had that was such a wow. It was a big wow in my life. It was an idea that broke so many layers. The second thing that came from that contact with spirituality, and again, I think it was my first contact, even so I had before, but it was my first conscious, aware contact, was the idea of God. I kind of fought with God. I mean, I was not in good terms with God at that moment. My life was not going in a good way. It was not nice. So I was not feeling that God was there. And I read the news a lot. And the news also told me God was not around. These were very bad. And then again, I received another idea of God. God as that supreme light, like the sun. So you can't complain about the sun. Here in Bogota, we had so much sun that we don't have water now. We don't have much rain. We have sun. So tomorrow, we don't have water the whole day. For 24 hours, no water, so that we can balance things a little bit. And sometimes that happens with God. God is the sun. So we blame the sun because there is no water. We can blame the sun because of this or that. But reality is we have been consuming too much water. It's not the sun's fault. We are the ones who are not using the water properly. We had to learn again. And that was what I learned from God, that He's there. He's ready to help me. And some places, and now my last trip to India, I saw at least one town that every house had a solar panel. I guess it's not every house, but at least most of the houses at that place, they have a solar panel. So they are using the sun. They are using the sun not only for whatever we do, but they're using to produce electricity. They are using to maybe to make their expenses go a little lower. Um, Other people just use the sun, just open the window, and that's it. Nothing else. So we got this similar process. Whatever I do, then I will take full advantage of God's power. Or God will be just an image, a nice image that you can go, you can pray. And when you really pray, you feel your heart gets full of joy, happiness. You really enjoy that. And you are okay. That's it. That's the only thing I needed. I just need a little prayer. So, with the exploration I have done in my life, I was able to go beyond the prayer, to go beyond everything. And God started to be my mother, my father, my partner, my agent, my doctor. I see Dr. Meta there. So God started to be my doctor too. So many things. And that's the effect of exploring, of breaking concepts, breaking paradigms. In Catholicism, God can do anything He wants. And it doesn't depend on you much. But then I learned in a different way. Yeah, the sun can do anything, but I have the power to go and work with the sun, and I can tap into that energy. I have the power to tap into God's energy and use it the best way possible. And the third thing that also made a big wow in my mind was karma. Well, karma was a concept I didn't have any idea. Yes, I read Bhagavad Gita. It was there. I didn't understand a word. It was so complicated. And karma was completely new. At that time, nobody used to talk about karma. Nowadays, everywhere people talk about karma. It's quite common. But that time, no, nobody. So when I realized that everything that was going on in my life was a karmic account, and how I can settle, how I can create better karmic accounts, I had hope. I think the main effect of my spiritual exploration, besides knowing the soul, besides knowing God, was to revive my hope on my own life, on myself. I start to have hope again that I can do something, that I'm not a slave of my own destiny, but I can create something better for me, for others. So that's what I invite you all to try to the exploration part in terms of curiosity. We are living a very funny time, very strange. One of the news I was reading yesterday, and I won't tell much because many nations here, many countries, it's a great problem. But a ship was taking weapons. And that ship was taking weapons and departed from one country. And because there is a war somewhere, so the ship couldn't go through that place. So the ship had to do a long journey, very long. And it went to another country, and the ship, well, the captain asked permission to go and disembark, no, at least to eat something, I don't know, to drink something, whatever. And the country didn't allow them because they were taking weapons to a certain country. Now, the geopolitical aspect there is crazy. But someone to send weapons to another country to kill other people and to earn a revenue from that, which is quite common nowadays, for me, it was a shock. It was a big, big shock. But then I understand that's the situation we're living now. I understand and I explore a little bit more. I understand the depths in that. I understand it's no one's fault, really. It's just happening. And I just get light and I send vibrations. And I hope that won't happen again. Yes, I hope. But it's just a good feeling of not getting burdened by whatever is happening around us. And that's something that's happening the other side of the world. Imagine the things that's happening with my mother, with my sister, with my own body, with my friends, with my job, my money. It's worse. But if I'm able to not get shocked, instead to explore, to try to understand, or at least to try to empower myself in such a way that I'm able to not resist, but to be resilient in relation to everything that's going on. Because that's what the world needs now. The world needs lots of explorers, lots of people that look for solutions, different solutions, different ideas. The world now needs not much justice. The world needs lots of forgiveness, lots of let's move on, let's change this, let's change the world, and let's move on. And I think this value is quite useful. So try that. I know the workshop's finished, but you can just try that. Think about one situation that bothered you, or it's annoying, something that you feel uncomfortable in relation to that. A situation that tastes like broccoli, very ugly. Just think about that situation and explore it under a different light, a spiritual light, a human light, a light of peace, a light of love, and see how different solutions emerge from that. In fact, here in Colombia, we still have a little bit of problems, struggles, but there used to be a civil war. It was very tough. During my first years in the country, I'm originally Brazil. I used to meet almost every month someone who suffered with the war. You know, and it was to be so bad, so bad. But I know one lady. She lost her brother to the war. Her brother was a Hare Krishna follower, and she lost him. Someone killed him. But before that, she got sick, extremely sick. She had to stay many years over a table, laying down. She couldn't move. So when she started to walk again, she realized something. She didn't want to be like her family. Her family is from a very social background, very high social background. She didn't want to be. So she started working in charity. She started to help, you know, single mothers who used to sell things on the streets. So she used to help them to create a business, etc. Eventually, she got married with a man who also lost his brother to the war. But they both lost their brothers for different armies, the opposite armies. And they both got together and they got married. Her husband is from Indian origin, from Bharat origin, and they decide to adopt children because she couldn't, because of her sickness, she couldn't bear children. So they decided to adopt, and they adopt so many, so many. And for me, it was an interesting experiment to be a friend of hers, because she's a person who went through hell, we'd say. In the Catholic, we'd say she went through hell. And yet she was able to be always smiling. She was always smiling. She was always positive. She was always seeing things in a different reality, because her exploration was totally different. She was not a victim of the circumstances, but she became a maker of her own world, her own circumstances. Nowadays, she's a grandmother of many, many grandchildren. And it's a very, very interesting story on how you can change. So instead of just being suffering because of situations, just enjoy life, explore a little bit more, and understand more. Something else about this curiosity as value. First of all, you need to have lots of power in terms of reflection. And reflection in English is associated with a reflex, you know, like when you see in your mirror, you go and see your face in the mirror, and that's your face there. So when you reflect what you are doing, you are seeing the situation in a mirror, in a certain mirror. You know, if you position the mirror in such a way, you can see things in a very different way. Or even this camera, no? If I start moving the camera around, you'll see different areas of this studio here. Okay? So in the same way, according to the mirror, you're going to see the situation. And reflection is one of the things we need most at this time of the world now, of this time we are living. Because reflection will make us understand, but also it will make us more powerful. We will understand, we'll be able to accept, we'll be able to make decisions. We'll be able to say, okay, that's what I'm going to do then. If this is the situation, that's what I'm going to do because I am reflecting, you know. I am not being dragged by the situation, but I'm looking at the situation through that particular mirror. So that's the first power you need. You need the power to reflect. So that means you have to stop a little bit. You have to think about the situation that's disturbing you. And you have to use a mirror to look at the situation. Which mirror? For instance, spiritual knowledge is a very good mirror. You can use also the mirror of someone you know who is very experienced and so you can see that situation through the eyes of that person, how it be. You can even use the mirror of the future. You can just imagine if I am in this situation, I start to work on that in that way, what will happen to me? What will happen to others? So in this way, you are exploring something and you are changing it in a very subtle way. And I had many experiences on that. It's quite good. It's beautiful, in fact. I remember to get work. I still work. I'm a business consultant. I'm a coach. And to get work, there was a simple formula that worked all the time. When I need work, I get worried. I'm a spiritual person, so I didn't get worried like that. But yes, I got worried a little bit. What to do? How to get money? And after getting worried, I start work in meditation and I get the job. It was like magic. It's really, the jobs were just, I was walking on the street and I meet someone and I get a job, just like that, you know? And it was very interesting. But but slowly I start to realize getting worried was not good. So when I start to work on that, and one day, and still it's like that, I can't get worried because I don't have money or I don't have job. I can't, simply can't. So it just went away. But that process took many years. And it was because of a deep reflection, a deep understanding, self-control, lots of meditation, no broccoli. All of that helped me to really reflect in a better way. The broccoli is a just okay. Um, so to reflect is the first thing you need to be curious in a better way. The second thing you need is a sense of newness. As Manoj was saying before me, there are too many things in technology nowadays. I am from IT, no, that's my background. And now AI, oh God, that's wonderful. You can do drawings in AI. In fact, you can do videos. If you have the money, you can do lots of things. Okay, it's so easy now. Okay, and and really, no broccoli, no broccoli. You can do that. And you know, it's interesting because even so, I come from AI, from IT. I love AI. I explore a lot. I have lots of articles, lots of videos on that because I'm really trying to understand it better. What I realize in myself is that newness is not necessarily something new, but it's a new way to see the same things. Because I have one friend especially. She's always looking for something new. It's tiring. Seriously. I get tired just look at her, you know. And And it's newness you can find in this mouse that I have been using for, I don't know, 6 years, 7 years already. Okay. Newness you can find in looking Dr. Meta again, looking people I don't know much, and I can't read because I'm without glasses. Sorry about that. So I can read your names so well. Um, as is to see a topic that I don't like, and I say, okay, let me do it. Newness is breaking the paradigms and everything you have inside yourself. One of the best jobs I had in Colombia was very good. Didn't pay well, but I liked so much. It was very good. It was a job with a union of engineers, and they wanted something very specific, very particular. So they gave me a book, and they said, "You have to prepare a course on the basis of this book." And this book was written by a Satya Sai Baba follower. And he was an engineer. That's why they chose him, of course. And it was so enlightening. I really loved that. And in that book, there was lots of stories, and I love stories. And one of the stories was about the chief of a tribe, indigenous tribe in United States. And this boy, he was very concerned because his age to become the chief was approaching. So he started to get worried about that. So he went to the wise man there, and that man told him to choro, that will be the Hindi word choro, to just let go, let go of everything. And he started to think, wow, how to do that? He was a young man. He was from the royal family, let's say, and he had lots of things in his little hut. Had lots of things, and he started to give the things that he didn't use first. Then later he started to give things he liked, but he didn't use. And slowly, he started to give everything he had. Eventually, he gave the hut to another family. And so he went by horse to the end of the tribe. And at that part, the poor families, they were living there. So he gave the horse to one of the families. And he went to the jungle. And he lived there for a long time. Just experience life without anything. So I don't suggest you to do that. Not at all. But what you can do is take all of the objects you have now they're around you. I see one sister with lots of books or shelves and all this stuff. Look at them with different eyes. Look at something and say, okay, what can I do here? What can I do with this? Can I position a different way, or can I just feel it in a different way? Look at the people around you in a different way. Look at the world in a different way. Because people, they are suffering so much in this world. But in a hospital, so many people suffer. And yet, the doctors, they are okay because they are the benefactors there. So if instead of suffering, I see the world as a doctor, a big doctor, so I start to change reality. And the third thing that I find very important to work with curiosity in terms of exploration is that it feeds you back enthusiasm, because there is a new energy, because you're not just doing things, you're not in a routine just like that. You are an explorer. You are finding something different, very, very valuable. And maybe the things you are finding, they won't show in the newspaper or whatever, TV news, but they are important for me, for you. One of the things I like is to cook. I'm a very bad cook, very bad, horrible. But I like to cook. And I'm very good with Italian food. Italian food, fine. Pizza, no problem. Gnocchi, my specialty. But every time I go to for cooking, which not many times, but every time I go cook something, I really prepare myself. It's like I'm cooking for the first time ever. I explore, I research. Few years ago, we decided to do something different in Christmas. So I did something British dish, something from Britain. And it was wonderful, really. Everybody loved it. I loved it. And it was part of this enthusiasm that gives curiosity, that you are satisfied, because it's a spiritual curiosity, but you are not quiet and still. You are creating, you are generating something. You are like the sun. The sun is there just by himself, just there, but it's always creating and generating energy. It is always irradiating, it's always sending power and heat and whatever. And we are like that. So when you explore things, feel the enthusiasm that comes in your life, that beautiful energy. And I think that's it, because I don't know if you have questions. I saw someone write it there, so I have to use a special scientific tool to read the question there. And
Someone was asking a question to me about, you mentioned exploration. I replied it to her, but maybe you could expand on it more. So she said, what is the relationship between curiosity and exploration?
well, that's how I see curiosity. Well, curiosity can be what? Can be that you are looking at the window and you see your neighbor doing something strange. Okay, let's say the neighbor is smiling, which is strange. That the neighbor never smiles. So curiosity can be just a lots of wasteful thoughts that emerge in your mind. Why is she smiling? Why is he doing like that? Why is he looking at a house? And so lots of thoughts. And curiosity is one of the main reasons we have negative, wasteful thoughts. Or you can explore. You can open the door. Hey neighbor, how are you? Tell me what's happening to you. Why are you smiling? Share. So you start a different relationship. So that's the main difference. Exploration means curiosity in action. Okay. So you start to do things, you start to feel it, you start to do experiments, you start to realize things in a different way. Okay. Like when I said I read religious books when I was a teenager, but that was just curiosity or boredom. I was just bored. So I started to read. The books were there, so I started to read them. But exploration would be if I went after that. Okay, so let me go to a Hare Krishna temple to know more about this Bhagavad Gita. I didn't go, you know. So exploration would be a step further than just being curious. That's a complicated word, for us to say, but curiosity, curious.
And yeah, so I just replied to her that curiosity is the starting point for exploration. And that's what you're also saying, that exploration is the next step after curiosity. Yeah, another question in the chat boxes, we'll take that as the last one because time is up. She says that as brother was mentioning about newness and new ideas, which are inevitable to successfully approach those who are not so spiritual and not interested at all to hear about God, talk about God. So how do you approach this topic for such people who don't want to listen to about God?
First of all, don't talk about God. Show God. Show God in our words, in our actions. in your reality, in your feelings. You know, if I knew that the Brahma Kumaris was giving a course and the course would be talked about God, I wouldn't go. I would haven't go. I just went there because I didn't know, you know. But I felt the energy of my friends. No, two friends of mine, one of them just died because of COVID. And the two friends of mine, they start going to that course. And I saw it. I saw the energy, you know, I saw their joy, their happiness. I could feel it. So that's what you have to do if someone doesn't like God. There are lots of values you can talk about. There are lots of things about being human you can talk about.
Okay, wonderful. So thank you so much for your exploration on this topic and also to, I mean, come out of comfort zone and this talk on city. Thanks a lot. And actually, I'll request now Dr. Ashok Mehta, who's joined us again after quite a few weeks because he was in Mount Abu. I'll ask him to propose the vote of thanks, and also Sister Claudia, who always is there, but she's got some personal reasons. So she's asked us to excuse her for her absence today. So over to Dr. Mehta.
Fascinating is the only word. But Marcelo has really taken curiosity to a heights of fascination. Amazing. The way you explored the subject of curiosity. I have made extensive notes, as a matter of fact. First thing, I see the picture of Jagdish Bhai there on your table. And 12th May was his Ascension Day. He was a fascinating man as well. And I'm so happy that you remember him and you kept his picture at the back. But you know, most of his books he wrote while traveling on a bus or a train and sitting on a, he didn't have a table, he just sat on a table on his bed and wrote most of the books. It's amazing. And they used to say that he used to keep all his books under lock and key. Nobody should disturb it. And the amount of literature he produced was amazing. So I think the first thing is I'm so happy that you remembered him. As a matter of fact, Baba had called him Ganesh, that he would write like, when Maharishi Vyas was talking about Bhagavad Gita, Ganesh wrote down the whole thing. So he had that capacity. Enjoyed peeping back into your life, that you started reading Bible and at a young age as a teenager. I think all of us who come to Baba have beginning, probably we are in search right from our, there's a sanskar we carry of our previous births. I started reading about Gandhi at his experiments with truth at a very young age, probably I was 8 or 9. And that time onwards, I was fascinated by, in search of truth, how can you go about? So I think all these sanskars we carry from our previous births, and we also get from our parents, our grandparents, and of course, our companions and friends in the school or teachers in the school. So I think I'm very happy that to peep into your life at a very early age, how you thought you are not in good terms with God. Amazing. I like your comparison of the sun, that you people blame sun for shortage of water and then you use the energy to reduce your electricity bill. I think this is a fascinating too. Your observations on everything. So I could get God's energy and settle my karmas. I think whatever you talked about weapons was also very interesting. How geopolitical aspects of our present circumstances are driving us to the point of the new world. As a matter of Baba always said that you should not worry about what's the destruction, because if there's a change only, then only the new world will come. Otherwise, you can continue as you are. So I liked that you could get a job whenever you want, only through reflection, through meditation. I think that's also fascinating. In other words, you have a very powerful power of the Baba, that it can solve many issues just by meditation. It's amazing. The feeling of newness, I think new things is a new way of looking at the things. You change your way of looking at life. You change the way of, the thing remains the same, but you change your way of looking at it. And then you bring a newness. I think that's beautiful thing. Any issue that you see from a different angle, you can solve the problem. I also like your concept of reflection, to use spiritual knowledge as a mirror and change the way of looking at it. I think I'm amazed at your cooking, that you cook so well. I think, as a matter of fact, instead of saying something about curiosity, I think you have created more curiosity in my mind about your personal way of looking at your life. Thank you very much, Marcelo Bhai, for fantastic talk on curiosity, the spiritual curiosity. As a matter of fact, what you have said is not a curiosity, but how to solve the issues that you ever get in your life through Baba's knowledge. Amazing. Thank you very much. And we are so fortunate that we are born in this country. We get to learn. I learned Sanskrit in my school, and it was very easy for us to understand Baba's knowledge. We have also the language, Sanskrit and Hindi itself. We are so fluent and easy to understand. And you have to go through a circuitous route, Hindi translation, English into English, and then English into Spanish, and then into Portuguese, I suppose. But the life is very, very interesting. And you live at the other end of the world as far as we are concerned. To come from Colombia here, you must be taking 2 days. So, amazing. Fascinating talk. Thank you very much, Marcelo Bhai.
Okay, so thank you so much.
Shukriya,
Dr. Mehta,
Bhaji.
and sorry. So we'll just quickly do the announcements before we go on to the meditation with Brother Marcelo. And these are the upcoming events. Just show you in a minute. So moving on from the value of curiosity, from tomorrow onwards for the next 2 weeks, it will be the value of flexibility. And that's episode 91. And we have the talk first on, remember, because we have to accommodate our speaker from Australia. So we have Brother Charlie Hogg, who's the director of Brahma Kumaris from the Australasia zone. And he'll be interviewed by Sister Amy Trivedi, who's another Raj Yoga practitioner from Melbourne. So it will be just to remind you, it won't be for India time Saturday evening. It will be Sunday morning so that we can fit in the Sydney time of 1:30 p.m. So I'll just refresh the time here. So it will be 9 a.m. for India coming Sunday. That's next Sunday, not tomorrow. And for West Coast, it will be the late evening time, 8:30 Saturday evening. So please, we'll be sending you obviously on the groups as well and remind you of these time changes, because we always do that for speakers from the Australasia zone. And following that, then we have these two beautiful brothers, the combo again we have. We try to always get in different combinations and permutations of Raj Yogis. And as we had both sisters, Sister Tanya Rich and Sister Judy Rich, both Lokik sisters, if you remember a few weeks ago. So we have both these Lokik brothers who are also very much alaukic in their behaviors to each other. And both of them form an integral part of the national coordinating team in Spain, Brother Enrique Simo and Bill Simo, and they'll be there interacting, having a conversation on flexibility during the workshop. That will be on Saturday, the 1st of June, 2 weeks from now. And as always, we begin or end the month with the silence retreat. So we'll be ending the flexibility value with the first Sunday of the month, India time morning, the silence retreat on flexibility. And again, the Saturday, that's the same time of silence retreat. For the West Coast, it will be 8 to 10 p.m. late evening. And this is our elegant calendar for the month of May. We'll be having the last event on 26th. Thanks to Kosha Ben for sharing this. And this is the June event calendar. We'll be sending it out to you soon. So just keep a track of your emails. And also, if someone has still not mentioned, if someone is new to this group, to these series and workshops, and if you want to be a part of them for future, please share your email addresses and your WhatsApp numbers. Again, just a gentle reminder. We'll be sending out to you. So I'm not speaking about the June calendar out right now. And these are our email addresses and also our websites. You can please feel free to reach us. And these you can see are the playlists for both the series and the episodes. And they are very simple to remember. omshanti.live/playlist for the Values for Life series and /workshops for the workshop series. And you can just quickly find out these on our YouTube channel called vihasa.in. That's the website as well, which you can see here. Sorry, it just went off. Okay, so I'll just stop sharing screen. So over to you, Brother Marcelo, for the closing meditation commentary. And would it be a commentary or drishti, whatever you're comfortable with?
Can we just take a photo though right away so that we'll live with meditation experience so everybody can open their video. Thank you, Brother Marcelo. We always have a photograph, virtual photo with you, with the speaker. So this is our memorable moment. Everybody open your video if you want to be in the photo. Okay, thank you so much. I got the photo.
Thank you, Sister Anu, and thank you all for at least opening the videos for the photograph. So might as well be there throughout the meditation with your videos on. So brother looks at not the black boxes, it's at human faces. Thank you. So over to you, Brother Marcelo. Yeah.
Thank you. So let's have a moment of meditation. Let's just explore the self, explore my connection with God and the connection with the Word. Let me just experience first myself as new, completely new. Just a point of light, the soul. Let me connect that point of light I am with God. Also light, a point of light. A strong connection. A powerful relationship. And let me connect both points of light with another point, the word, my life. And let me look at my whole life through God's eyes. Exploring, understanding better, and moving on. And every time some situation emerges, some bad things happen, let me just do this exercise. I am a point, I remember another point, God, and both of us see life as just a point, a perspective. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brother Marcelo, for your experience sharing. Thank you.
Thank you for the invitation, Dr. Mehta, the translators. Thank you, everyone. Om Shanti.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thank
Bye-bye.